Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for, this is your May bonus reading. You start with this Bear Tree card. It says, don't waste your energy or efforts on something that is clearly not bearing fruit. You have this Success and Triumph card. It says, nothing will be able to get in your way. You will surely come out on top. So definitely a little bit of like unstoppable Libra energy going on here. So you could be feeling unstoppable, but we'll see before we speak too soon here, Libra. You start with that Emperor energy, which is weird because I'm pretty sure you've been getting the Emperor quite a bit in your readings with me lately. And the Emperor is your opposite sign, Aries. And we have a lot of energy going into Aries right now. So I feel that a lot of you could be like, feeling that energy, which, could be good, could be challenging. We'll see what comes up here in the reading, but definitely a good time for action. I would say for you, that Aries energy is really about kind of like seeing something through to the end and being a finisher, right? Believing that you can finish what you've started. And it is also interesting that we have the Eight of Swords and the Ten of Swords coming up here in the first part of the reading. The Eight of Swords is your crossing energy with the Emperor, and this could just represent needing to see that there are other ways of doing things. The Eight of Swords, she's only looking at one way to solve a problem when there are many ways to solve a problem, and so that could be like part of your solution with the Emperor energy. I do feel like if you are thinking of, kind of potentially seeing something through to the end, or if you're thinking about potentially giving something one last shot, that, this is a good reading for that. I feel it is saying like, yeah, go for it. And I'm not talking about a relationship here either. This looks like something that you're working on, or probably something that will get you attention. And I say that because we have the Hermit to the Star. The Hermit has the star in his lantern, and then you have the star in the area of your closest relationship. So like literally getting attention from people. And the Emperor, he has this Ankh right here, and the Ankh is actually a symbol of rebirth. So I don't think that you are undergoing a rebirth. I feel that you are just maybe giving something another shot. Like I said, it's like you're trying again, or you're trying to make something be successful again. Like this could be a project, a business, an idea that maybe you gave up on, or maybe you were kind of like put on pause, or maybe you haven't seen it through to the end yet. And so I feel that energy with the Emperor. You have the Eight of Swords as your crossing energy. Again, the crossing energy could be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross. And the Eight of Swords, again, I kind of feel like both, honestly. I feel like some of you feel stuck, but I also feel the Eight of Swords could be the solution to this problem, which is just looking at other ways of doing things. And as long as you stay like open and flexible, I feel you will kind of find other solutions. The other thing I would say about the Eight of Swords is that she's standing in this water here, and the water is very shallow that she's standing in. And so the Eight of Swords can kind of represent shallow emotions, or, it can kind of represent making a bigger deal out of something than it actually is. So if you are working on a project, a business, or whatever, and if you're fearing like the outcome, it's like sometimes we think, if I finish this thing and it doesn't work, then I'm screwed. The Eight of Swords says, well, probably not. So I almost feel like this should give you, like, I don't know if I want to say that it should give you confidence, but kind of, right? Next, in the area of what's on your mind, or the area of your thoughts, you have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords says you are thinking that something is dead, done, over with, of course. The Ten of Swords actually can be good in the area of your thoughts, because he's making this symbol right here with his hand. It's the same symbol the Hierophant is making with his hand, and you have the Hierophant showing up in your reading, Libra, and it just represents a blessing. So the Ten of Swords can represent a blessing in disguise, or it can say you are seeing how something that didn't work in the past is kind of a blessing in disguise, and it could be anything. You have the Magician coming up in the area of the very near future, and so sometimes I think we also just aren't ready to finish something, or we're just not ready to do something, or maybe we don't have like the skills or the tools. And the Magician would kind of say that you now have the talents, gifts, skills, and abilities necessary to complete whatever the Emperor is trying to complete in your reading. And so I feel pretty good about this, Libra. You have the Page of Wands. It's like the beginning of that unstoppable energy. Again, that card, the Success and Triumph card, says nothing will be able to get in your way. You will surely come out on top. Eight of Swords is like something in your way. And the Page of Wands, he doesn't care what is in his way. He just follows his optimism. If something makes him feel happy or good, then he moves in that direction. I think I forgot to say that this is coming up in the area of your foundation in the reading. And the Page of Wands, again, is a good foundation because he's optimistic, enthusiastic. He's, following his bliss, or he's moving closer towards ideas and plans and goals that make him happy. So a lot of you seem to be at least pointing in the right direction energetically. So I do feel pretty good about this Page of Wands. I do feel like being more playful with the things that you're working on would be a good idea. Like instead, being more willing to experiment and try new things. I do also feel that this could be new love. We do have the Emperor and the Empress showing up here. The Empress is showing up in the past position. And I am getting a bunch of messages on those two, so we'll talk about it in a second. But I do feel like some of you could be attracting someone, and it could be a fire sign. Next, in the area of your past, this is the energy you're moving past. You have this card. It says your commitment is being tested. Yes. You have this card that says confidence is the key to your success. I mean, you can't make this up, Libra. I kind of feel like your commitment to an idea or whatever you're trying to finish, like what you really want in life, is being tested with that card. And that's why I was saying I really feel Libra needs to believe, or it's like maybe your mantra should be that you are a finisher, or that you are an overcomer, or that you are unstoppable, right? Like all those things I think would be good like affirmations or things to say to yourself. And, again, you end with the Queen of Wands, so confidence is definitely going to be the key to your success. You have the Empress in the past. So a couple of things. Whenever we go from the Empress to the Emperor like this in a reading, we have the Empress in the past position. This could actually be good with the Emperor showing up in the future. It's like saying you're balancing out both sides of your energy, the masculine and the feminine, and you're kind of using both things. So maybe you've had the ideas. It's like, the Empress, she has the steak, but the Emperor has the sizzle, right? He has the ability to cook that steak and turn it into something that you could eat. So, I think for a lot of you, this could just say you've had the ideas, you've had the creative ideas with the Empress, but maybe what's been missing for a long time is that Emperor energy inside of yourself. Like, we're not talking about another person here. We're talking, we can all balance these energies in ourselves. And so, the Eight of Swords, right? So the Eight of Swords kind of says that maybe the Emperor's been missing in your life, and now he's here in this reading. So it's like now you have the action part of it that's been missing. The other thing about these two is, you are a Libra, and when these two show up together, they do kind of represent a balanced couple. But I kind of feel intuitively that maybe things have not been balanced, and maybe that's what's been preventing you from seeing something through to the end, or from being a finisher or an overcomer, or whatever you want to call it. So I feel pretty good about these energies, and I just feel like you are moving forward here, Libra. Next, in the very near future, you have this Mystic Circle. It says your abilities will be enhanced. Love it. You have the Sun. It says your perseverance is rewarded. Yes. Definitely do not give up on whatever this is here, Libra, for you. It's like, it's clear to me there's like something that you're trying to accomplish. You have the Star, you have the Hermit. This is probably something you've worked for, or, something that you've had to overcome, right? The Hermit has had to go through a dark night of the soul. He's had to climb to the top of that mountain to be able to shine his inner light, or to find his inner light in the first place. And now he's shining it. So I feel this is definitely saying, like, don't give up on whatever you're working on here. Also in the very near future, you have the Magician. Yes, the Magician is literally pointing down to the Hermit in this reading right here. So, I feel that you have kind of gained the light, or you have found your light. He has mastery over all the ace versions in the tarot here. These are all the ace versions of all the suits. And it kind of says that if he's working on something, it's like maybe he's been using his logic with the swords, but maybe he needs to be more creative with the wands, or maybe he needs to take more action with the wands, or maybe he needs to use his pentacles or his cups, right? So I feel for a lot of you that you have, I kind of feel this should be giving you confidence as well, because it's saying like you have a lot more skills, but you probably have a lot more tools than you realize. You just have to use the right tool for the job. And so I would be experimenting, like I said, with the Page of Wands with whatever this star thing is that you're trying to accomplish. The other thing about the magician is like sometimes we just have to tweak our habits, right? He has this snake wrapped around his waist here, represents the Ouroboros, which represents reinvention. And so sometimes we have to like get into alignment with the thing that we want. You know, it's like if we want to be successful in business, but if we're sitting around all day, then we're not going to be very successful, right? And so the magician says that even if you aren't successful, you have to adopt the habits of success. You have to do the things that will make you successful to get there in the first place and adopt those habits. And you have to act as if. You know, it always reminds me, like years ago, I had like 20 people in a row ask me about their book, right? They would say to me, like, I want to write this book, but I'm not sure if it will be successful. Should I write it? And I used to say to those people all the time, real writers write, you know? So it's like, it doesn't matter if it's successful or not. It's like, if you're not writing, you're not a writer. And that is not being a magician, right? So there's probably, you know, it's kind of popping into my head with this card that there's like something, like an identity that you want to be, like a writer or whatever, take it how it resonates. And I feel this is saying like real people who are that thing do certain things. And the magician wants you to do those things, right? Next in the outcome row, you have this co-create card and this breathe card. Yeah, we're in an amazing time for co-creation. I do still feel like this year, next year, we have to be a little bit careful of who we co-create with, because it's like we have to make sure that we are number one. We have to make sure that the people we're working with, it's like we're up here. We need to make sure that they're like supporting us, right? That they're coming in a support position. So that is the secret, is that you can work with people as long as they're supporting your vision at this time. And that's what I would be focusing on here. In the area of the next few months, you have the Hermit. I kind of feel like you are working on coming down from the mountain. I don't think you're going to be in Hermit mode, especially with a star in the area of your closest relationships. I highly doubt that you'll be in Hermit mode for the next few months. But what I would say is I do feel that it's time to come down from the mountain. I feel it's very tempting, you know, when you've been through like a dark night of the soul, or you've been through something very difficult, you know, it's very tempting for the Hermit to stay at the top of the mountain. And he, you know, because he's in isolation, he's kind of like protected from the cruel reality of the world. But really, what he needs to do is come down to the world and share his inner light. And he needs to be an inspiration. He needs to be the change he wants to see in the world, to use a cliche, right? And if he does that, then he will get the spiritual rewards. But again, he has to come out of isolation. And I feel based off of the last like 6-7 months, I feel like pretty much everyone probably wants to be staying in hermit mode, but we really have to shine our light, is what that card says. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, you have the star, which says you are the star here, Libra. So you could be getting tons of attention in all areas of life. You know, we're not just talking about love here. This is all relationships that you are dealing with. So there's plenty of attention coming in for you. It also would say that you are being an inspiration. So you definitely could be, you know, getting the benefits. And again, I keep telling people, people ask me, like, why do you keep telling everyone to be an inspiration? And I always say Pluto and Aquarius, right? It's like, I'm a big believer in working with the energy. People also always ask me, what is my spiritual purpose? I'm like, well, we don't really have a spiritual purpose. We're here to create our own reality. But with Pluto and Aquarius, I think our, you know, purpose is to inspire others to live a better life. And if you do that, then you'll get, who the hell knows what you're going to get, you know, the spiritual rewards from helping people, from guiding people. And again, you don't have to be like a teacher, even though you have the hermit. So you're not telling anyone what to do. The star is about just living your life in the best way possible. And the people who need to see it will see it, right? Just that simple. And so that's what I would be doing with the star card. I also think that, you know, there's this bird here. And the bird is the ibis, a bird of knowledge and wisdom. And so on the star card, it kind of represents getting a bird's eye view, or kind of seeing where you're going. And I do feel it would be a good time to like zoom out on your life and see how far you've come, you know, see what you've accomplished and all that other stuff. You know, might just be a good exercise. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the hermit. Literally could say you're feeling blessed. He is blessing these two people in front of him here on this card. So I feel for some of you could be feeling blessed, especially with the star as well showing up in this reading. The other thing about the Hermit is, like, I feel like kind of a weird message here that doesn't represent the Hermit, by the way. I mean, sorry, the Hierophant. But it's like, I feel like some of you are starting to think outside the box. The Hermit, the Hierophant, I keep wanting to say the Hermit, but the Hierophant, he can kind of represent needing to see outside the box, needing to see other ways of doing things. He is a very strict belief system. And I always say, we had Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is in Aries right now, but Neptune will retrograde into Pisces. Neptune in Pisces is a direct challenge to traditional belief. Traditional belief right here. So pretty much all of us are being asked to look at the things we've always believed, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And we are being asked to, it's like some of those beliefs we aren't believing anymore, and some of them we are probably going to double down on, right? It kind of goes both ways. And the other thing is that we're kind of like in a time where, the universe is asking, like, why? Like, why do you follow these certain rules in life? And, are there better ways to do things, and you're just limiting yourself because you're following some sort of rule that doesn't exist? We're not talking about laws here. We're talking about, like, rules. Like, we all have rules that we just make up in our head. And the Hierophant says, does it have to be that way or not? And I don't know. I can't answer that question for you, but definitely something I would look at, Libra. You end with the Queen of Wands. Very attractive at this time, Libra, which has been coming up for you. So if you want love, the star would kind of be about getting attention in public. So I would say put yourself out there, go to any events that you can go to, any social events or anything like that definitely could be bringing love. The Queen of Wands is also very bold, assertive. She's an overcomer. She is, kind of, nothing can get in her way if she sets her mind to it. So, like I said, I feel that first card is like the perfect card for this reading. It really is saying that nothing can get in your way at this time. You really could be accomplishing a lot at this time, Libra, so it looks amazing. With the Emperor and the Eight of Swords, you have the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is like this or that thinking. We're not in a time of this or that thinking. We're in a time of innovative thinking because of Pluto and Aquarius. So, she has an innovative solution right here, this island behind her. And she just needs to, she could be mixing ideas together to get to that island. She could be realizing that there are just other ways of doing things just in general in life. And that's what, the whole reading basically says you need to open up to other ways of doing things. I would also be careful of like negotiating in a relationship here with the Empress and the Emperor. It's like, I'm a big believer that it's like you really can't negotiate desire like in a connection. It's like sometimes people, they try to work together. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to work together with your partner either. That's not what I'm saying. But it's like, at a certain point, it's like, sometimes I think people try to negotiate things in a relationship, but it's like by doing that, both people aren't being who they really are. And that's what I would be careful of with this Two of Swords. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Chariot. Yes, big victory. I mean, you're probably charging away from something with this reading here. So the Chariot is kind of like moving in a new direction. It kind of says your mind is already moving in a new direction because the Chariot, he is leaving the past in the past. He's leaving the city behind him behind. So the city represents everything he's always known, and he's like going in a new direction. He has no clue where he is going. He is just trusting that the universe is going to get him there, and that's it. So a lot of you could be already thinking of leaving something. With the Page of Wands, you have the Strength card. We see a ton of strength in this reading, just kind of, Empress, Emperor, Queen of Wands, the Courage card, all these cards are saying that working on yourself would be amazing this month. And the Strength card is about quieting your inner voice. I do think, again, pretty much the collective, it has a very, we all have that active, voice in the back of our head right now. There's a lot going on that I think could be telling people like, oh, just be lazy, or don't do that, don't do this is risky, like all those things in the back of your head. And we need to take control of that voice and do it anyway, whatever we're thinking about doing. And the Strength card is about, again, really quieting that inner voice. She is getting this lion to submit to her. It has its tail between its legs. So, I feel that taking control of your inner voice is going to be really a good idea this month. With the Empress, you have the Three of Wands. Taking action, really. I mean, the Three of Wands says, what are you waiting for? but the Three of Wands is showing up in the past position. And then we go to the Emperor here. So it's like you're getting ready to make a move, take action, mix the Emperor and the Empress together. You're probably using both energies. Three of Wands is expansion. I think that all air signs are kind of expanding. We have Jupiter and Gemini until the middle of June, basically. And, so you being an air sign, you will benefit more than other people from that Jupiter and Gemini energy, even though it's not in your sign, doesn't matter. And so a lot of you could be being called to expand. With the Magician, you have the Three of Pentacles. Didn't you have something that said co-create in here? Where was that? It was at the end. Three of Pentacles says teamwork makes the dream work. And how crazy is it that I said you have to be the people that come into your life have to come in a support position. These people are supporting his vision right here. And so anytime, I think there could be a lot of people that like want your attention, want to work with you, all that other stuff. And again, that's fine as long as they are supporting your vision. Again, I think you are one of the signs that will have a hard time if you're like, working on someone else's vision. And I would just be careful of that with this, based off of everything that I've said in this reading. It's like ultimately you are the one that is going to create the success. The Three of Pentacles is a card of quality work. So you have the ability to create something of quality with that Magician. And I would definitely do it. With the Hermit, you have the Queen of Wands. Yes, I like it. I feel like it's time to unleash the beast here, Libra. I think it's time to like stand out, get attention, really go for what you want. The Queen of Wands, she moves towards the sun. She's the only Wands Court card that doesn't have salamanders on her cloak like all the other Wands Court cards. And so the salamanders represent protection from fire or protection from risk. And the Queen of Wands, she isn't really protected from risk. She has to take a risk and learn as she goes along. So I feel a lot of you could be in that position where it's like you could be taking some risks or doing some things to put yourself out there. And, again, these might be risks, but they will make you stronger is what the Queen of Wands says. With the Star card, here you go. You have the Emperor. So like I said, you're really bossing up like all the other air signs. And, kind of like taking the lead, taking charge. You could be attracting an Emperor, like I said. I would say maybe you see this person as a star. Sometimes I feel the star says that you see a person who shines bright, So if you're looking for love, definitely could be like a new person coming in for you here with these cards. I'm also feeling something about like energy. He has this water below him, right here, behind him, I should say. You have the water on the Star card, and then we have the waterfall on the Empress. The water from the Emperor flows down to the Empress. The water on the stars comes from the pool of universal consciousness. There's something about it. I don't know. Not really a message. I'm just babbling at this point, Libra. But that's there's something about energy that's popping into my head, where you get your energy. I kind of feel there might be two places you could get your energy. Number one, from positive people. Doesn't have to be love, although it could be. It's you could be attracting an Emperor that really motivates you and makes you more successful in life, or it could just be a person. The Star is getting energy from the universe. The Star is also seeing what's possible. She's pouring this water onto the land, right here, and it's flowing out into the earth. And this imagery right here says what's possible for one person is possible for everyone. So if you're trying to do something and you see someone else doing it, then it's possible for you. With the Hierophant, you have the Hermit. Oh my God. I kept calling the Hierophant the Hermit, and now you have the Hermit twice. So I don't know. This could say that the other thing here, Libra, is with the Hierophant and the Hermit, this can represent holding some of your beliefs in, or holding things that you want to say in, and you should be letting those things out. So, this is kind of people pleasing in a way, where it's if you're holding things in and not speaking your truth, then you're kind of surrounding yourself with a bunch of people who you don't want in your life anyway, right? So I would speak up. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Two of Wands. The whole reading says take the lead. The Two of Wands is a card of progress. It's a card of taking the lead on something. And so I feel a lot of you could be taking the lead in your own life. Even though there is a little bit of love here, it is kind of a very independent reading, right? There's a lot of energy that's talking about just you and you doing things. You have this whale. It says, great worry over nothing. I don't remember where I said this in this reading, but I did say something. Maybe it was the Eight of Swords. I was talking about the water underneath the Eight of Swords, how she's making a bigger deal out of something than it needs to be. And, the whale is basically saying the same thing. Like, don't make a bigger deal out of things than they need to be, right? So there you go. You have this nest card. It says an emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. Yeah, if you're hoping to find love, or maybe you're looking for a person to have a family with, then you could be with that Emperor for sure, or the Empress. You have this basket. It says, you can't make this one up. It says recognition, reward for merit. Three of Pentacles is a card of receiving recognition for the work you have done. So is the Star. It's connected to the Star card. So, you definitely could be getting attention. But like I said, real writers write. I'm not saying you're writing, but whatever it is that you want to do, I would do it, because then that will make you a real whatever, insert whatever you are here, and you will get the attention for it. So definitely time for you to get attention. You have this bell card. It says announcement on it. Yeah, there could be like good news coming in for you. It seems to be like a communicative month. Like there's been a lot of communication in the readings. There's been a lot of like people receiving good news and stuff like that. And you have, what do you know? You have this bird card, this bird perch. It says waiting for news, package, or letter. So if you've been waiting for news or a package or a letter, definitely could be getting communication here. But this looks really good, Libra. I like where this is going. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.